Hi, my name is Jamie Richards, and I'm applying for the Fund for Leaders Scholarship. I've applied to Wartburg Seminary, been accepted, and I'm really excited to answer these 3 questions for you so that you get to know me a little bit better in considering my scholarship application. So the first question to answer is, what kind of leader are you? So the first thing that comes to mind is that I am pretty self-aware through a lot of years of doing therapy and counseling in my early 20s, and then also doing a lot of just being in a lot of different experiences has taught me a lot about myself. I feel quite confident that I know what makes me tick, where my limitations are, what my strengths are, and what areas I can still grow in. And so the first thing is that I feel like a pretty self-aware sort of leader. The second thing that comes to mind is that I feel like a pretty courageous leader. And I think that even when someone is in front of you or something is in front of you that's really difficult, the best way is not around, but it's through. And it's through with courage, and it's through with love, and in the spirit of how God calls us to be in this world. And so that would be number 2, would be courageous. Number 3 is empowering. I prefer to not tell people what to do, but to help them discover what God has called them to, and then figure out how I can help people live into that. The ministry is not mine, ministry is God's. And so the best thing for us to do as leaders in the church and anywhere else is to help people figure out what God is calling them to, so that they can live in lives of service to their neighbors and to the world around them. The second question is around what challenges and opportunities the ELCA is facing in the next 10 years. Dwight Zwiley's recent report on attendance trends in the ELCA shows that we are at a crossroads. There's statistical evidence for a decline in the LCA and other denominations around us. I won't belabor how millennials and Gen Z are just not present in the church, or have walked away from the church, or not re-engaging in faith if they grew up in church. And so that's a challenge. And then another challenge, something I've been thinking a lot about lately, is how Barna Research recently published an article about how millennials feel like we're in a leadership crisis in our country. And so the issues that are facing us in the next 10 years are quite significant, but I think that we have a whole lot of opportunities ahead of us, and I'd like to tell you about a little bit of them. So first, I think that we have a calling to dig wholeheartedly into what God is calling us to do, first and foremost, and that happens, well, I'll get to that in a minute. So prayer, digging wholeheartedly into what God is up to, and then to adapt to see how we can do outreach better, to see how we can reach our friends and our neighbors better. And we have an opportunity to partner together. So rather than to dig into our own position, even though we have differences, some of which are really important differences, but to be able to partner together so that we can find common unity, the common goal, and the way of Jesus, the way that Jesus calls us into, and ultimately to be able to help people feel safe in a church. People who are disenfranchised, people who have left, people who have a poor idea about Jesus and about church. And so we have some really, really incredible opportunities in front of us in the next 10 years. And then the third question is, how will I, as a leader, contribute to addressing these issues? Well, I've been doing young adult ministry at the church that I serve at on staff for over 4 years, and I feel like I've gotten to really grapple with this already and have made some good strides toward this. And so the ministry that I lead with young adults is thriving and growing. We still have a lot of work to do, and so I am getting together a vision and strategy team of young adults so that we can talk about not the next 10 years in ministry, but more bite-sized, more 18 months to 2 years that we have in front of us. I think it's really important to listen and to be connected. One of the favorite things that I've done in the last couple of years is I had a little side hustle job at a nightclub for young adults, well, for anyone in the Des Moines area, because I so wanted to stay connected with young adults in the Des Moines area, especially those that weren't darkening the door of a church. And then another way that I will contribute to addressing these issues is to just simply stay courageous. I'm always asking myself where I am acting out of fear rather than out of love. I think it'll be really important to continue to pray and to surf the waves of what the Holy Spirit is up to. And then finally, continue to figure out what outreach looks like, not just for Gen Z and millennials, but that's what I'm really passionate about as my own generation. And so what does it look like to engage people on Instagram, via podcasts, and continue forward with that. So thank you so much for considering my application for the Fund for Leaders, and have a good day.